also live streaming on the YouTube as well. About 5 cities.
I got a shiny head.
How are you?
Good, and you?
Good.
Cancel that.
All right.
Hit your home button. Yeah, and then you push that again, it'll get you to your home screen. Crap. When I go back to my home screen, what was I supposed to push again?
Just a little bump on the side.
Yeah, to get back to the. Got it. The email looking thing.
Yes, sir.
You don't even
Okay,
get it
so you
on
push
there.
this back. So if you push the little email icon, that'll get you back to the agenda.
Ready for the pledge?
Yeah.
Everybody ready?
We'll be pushing buttons all night.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Why don't you take that timed out? Let the roll call show that everybody's present. Can guests in the audience please introduce themselves?
Gary Wise.
Jennifer Chano, Wanda Wise.
Tim Harkey.
George Widener.
Thank you.
Bud Boyle. Got it.
Are you here?
Let's talk about the CD and BG funding. First we need to amend the agenda. We need to add permits for Karma Lindsley has a building permit request. And Brink Construction has a business license on permits. On new business, DJ CDC sidewalk, first payment and retainage, we need to add that to the agenda. The payments are $87,894.59. We need to add that to new business.
Well, I move we amend the agenda to include those aforementioned items.
Second.
Been moved and second. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same. Motion passed. Now we go to number 2, public hearing. CD and BG funding. Chris, take that over.
So the first step of this funding was for a resolution that we passed about a month ago, council approved. And that was to request $100,000 in grant funding for removal of derelict buildings with the primary purpose to have availability for low to medium income housing, replace it, as well as to clean up the lighting area. with that, this public hearing for any public comment on the proposed sites that be considered for that funding to be utilized. Currently, the two sites that we have that we're looking at acquiring the property and the demolition of said property to convert it into areas suitable for low to medium income households would be the Shoshoni Motel and the current Lip Rippers across from Vaseline.
Yeah, we've identified those two buildings. Neither one of them we don't feel is worth saving. We need, so just having old buildings here on Second Street, people are driving by. We'd like to demolish them and do something. This is the first step. So this grant would be for the purchasing of the property and the demolition. And it's a competitive bid. A competitive application. There's only so much funding available. We'll be competing, maybe, we don't know how many others, but we're going to put our best foot forward proposal and why we think we need to do that.
And there's $750,000 available statewide. We applied for $100,000. Part of this process is the public comment, which was advertised in the newspaper. And this is the opportunity for the public comment and public hearing on that aspect for the proposed usage of that funds. If any.
Any questions?
Have you talked to the owners?
Yes,
And they're
of
both-
course,
And they're both are good?
of course.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask that too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question.
Yeah, I've been in contact with both the landowners.
Both would be willing to.
Yeah, no, we have not settled on a price yet. But I'm in negotiation, talked with both the landowners. Both the landowners are open to that.
I'm assuming that the way we're looking is if we don't get the grant, we don't proceed.
Correct. This
wanted to clarify.
yeah,
that.
that's correct. This is
Dependent upon being awarded the grant.
we won't know probably until the application will be submitted in September at the end of this month, and we probably won't know closer till January. And then that would be, at that point, then we would go through the typical process with grants and
So on that grant money, not to interrupt, but would the town be purchasing those?
please identify yourself and can you come to the microphone, please?
You bet.
Thank you.
Jordan Whitener. And the question I have is, would the town be purchasing those two locations, or how would that be? Would they just
No,
be?
we would be purchasing those two locations.
Okay,
with
and then,
grant funding.
and then tearing them down with what's left of the grant money,
Grant funding would then be the demolition aspect.
and then putting low-income housing in there is the,
And then the deal would be 2 years to have a workable plan to replace it with low, medium income housing with developers to develop that land into those aspects.
okay, that's all I had.
Chris, on those lands, does that grant work off? Can you, let's say you go ahead and do this, we get those properties taken care of and cleaned up. Does the low-income housing have to be put on those necessary lots, or can they be put on
No.
other town properties?
It's a two-pronged grant. We have to meet one of the criteria of the federal monies which is urban blight and low income to medium housing. If we can meet two, it just gives us a better tenable situation to get the grant. So if we have two of the points that is the main emphasis of the grant, it just makes us better positioned to actually acquire the grant.
Perfect.
But it doesn't have to be both.
And does the grant help, does the grant cover the housing as well?
No, this is just the
The land.
acquisition and the demolition aspect.
First step,
Can we only get part of the grant, not the, let's say 50,000 instead of 100,000?
And they could award less than we request.
And then is there a priority on property A, property B as to being demolished first.
That would be up to the town, not the grant per se. It'd be up to
Okay, that's why I'm
the town.
asking, does the town have a priority?
Uh,
Because I haven't heard about it.
That's, I believe what we're gonna do now is figure that out. I see the Shoshoni, the
Tell us, yeah, I would say is the obvious.
I
Yeah.
agree with that.
I'd say that was, that, I'm saying, that's the obvious. That was initially what sort of got us pointing down this road. But we feel if we can do two of them for that amount of money, then it would, I think, be better for the town if we was able to get two of them.
Absolutely.
And that's what brought that. So that's kind of where we're at with that.
So, to answer your question. But, the thoughts are,
But the,
I mean, that's not set in stone. I guess.
but the council have a lot, will have a lot to say with that. That was just what initially got us going. And I think we all agree that's been I've been told by a realtor that Shoshoni Motel reduces the valuation of every piece of property in town by 5% on appraisal.
I wouldn't surprise me, true.
You know, so
When we had 'em-
I think that's definitely a number one I think that's would be a number one priority because it's very visible and Tim and Karen James have started, working on it. They've started removing that old roof and stuff like that because, but I don't know. I think the town would be better off if that was a vacant lot, something to build on, and there's enough lots land there. And we are in a there's no affordable house. It's hard to find affordable housing for workers in the town of Shoshoni. And we need more housing.
Yes.
And this is a step, and we're looking.
It's a huge step.
And we're
Getting rid of that motel. I mean, getting rid of that's just huge, even if nothing even happened. Just getting rid of it.
well, we want something to happen.
Yeah, no,
too.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying if it didn't.
Well,
it
sure,
still
no,
makes a heck of a big
yeah,
difference.
vacant lot there'd be better than what was there.
Yeah, I mean, that looks horrible.
But that's our first step in the process. We, have been, and Chris has spent quite a bit of time talking with WCDA and options we have, and we're looking at what we can do.
So if we get approved for that first part and then we get the land purchased and demolished, if we get denied for the second part of the grant, what's the town's liability? I mean, are we obligated
You
to?
mean on the hook for the other 100K is what you're getting at?
Yeah, well, I'm asking, what are we, potentially on the hook for?
We wouldn't be, because that's, the blight is the main purpose.
We got rid of the blight.
Whereas
Oh.
attaching, if we were going strictly for possession for that, then we would have to basically have a 2-year plan to develop it into low-income housing. Is what we'd have to come up with. So we'd have to have that piggyback. But this particular grant at this stage is only specifically for removal and acquisition of property. And then,
So we're not like contracted to,
No,
okay.
yeah, we're not
That was my one
obligated to
concern.
spend $500,000 on.
Right, we're not promising that if we're denied the grant, we're gonna build that
No.
regardless.
those are the other grants that you missed the first deadline on, where you basically have a contractor or a developer already in tow, and they're doing a different path of applying for the current tax credits and whatnot, and then we're acquiring the land, and then
Right.
we grant them the land, they come and develop the land, all through WCDA, they do all the paperwork, we get the land, and those are kind of a mutual agreement that's, front, we're just doing this one part by ourselves,
One part, get the land, get it clear.
and then
Try to-
hopefully find a developer, and then they'll take over the next step, and then they'll
Work
have
on
to
that.
those two second parallel track without us, we've already done it.
We need housing.
And we need the housing, and I like picking up of getting those properties too, to the truth.
And if we, and we pick them up, And as long as we stay under $100,000, they're getting paid for 100% by grant.
Yeah, I think we get that, that's win-win.
Jordan Whitener again. Question I have is, if you purchase those pieces of property, the ideal amount would be to the 100,000. If that was what was granted, would be used to demolition too, right? You just
Yeah, no, that's purchase and demolition.
Okay. I was making sure it just wasn't purchase price.
No, that's purchase price and demolition.
Well, the reason I ask is because I'd hate for the town to be in a situation where you buy a $250,000 piece of property, right? So that would be the reason that I asked.
No,
My name is Mike Dimick. I would, maybe as a heads up, as you're planning on dual properties, I don't know this for sure, but I would anticipate the Shoshoni landfill will be closed at the end of this year. I don't know that, but just based on the capacity, we had just done a similar demolition to something like the left tackle. Foundation to an extent was included, and our landfill, just the landfill bill to sand draw for that unit was, I think, just shy of $12,000 just in weight. So I would almost give you a rough estimate. If you're pulling foundations on this building, you'd probably be in the vicinity of 10 to 15,000 in cost of disposal fee, and then the motel down the road would probably give you an estimate of 20 to 25,000 just in your fees. So then if you're looking at it as a demolition cost on something like that, anyway, just as a heads up, if this project goes into next year, this won't exist anymore, and your demo will just be very expensive as compared to.
We'd be down to one building essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that goes back to the property cost. If you get a screaming deal on the property, but if say the property was 50,000 for one, then anyway.
Which I think goes with the councilman's medicine about prioritizing.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
Yeah. Because it was like, so whoever in the world does, it's just that is going to be expensive. So that's the unknown, how much concrete's underneath it, how much dirt gets in there. But like I said, it just gets super expensive, super fast in Fremont County, or something like that.
There was the cost to take it to Riverton.
That was to the Sandra landfill. So we were demoing,
Sure.
yep, right out on the outskirts of Riverton, and it went all to that landfill. Yeah, just something to think on as far as costs are.
Yeah.
yeah, we're very much aware of that, Mike. We've already worked with a contractor on an estimate on demolition, talking with the landfill people. We're not going into this blind, but
Oh.
yeah, but yeah, it can, if you run across scales in Riverton, get expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the
Thanks, Mike.
information.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
Any other comments, questions? We gotta fix this.
They're going to sleep. That's what I was trying
Yeah,
to
mine was
figure
sleeping, but I don't
out.
touch it in a
I gotta
minute.
keep,
I'm sorry that I missed that to set up. I apologize. It's my fault.
okay,
I'll work on it.
okay.
Mm.
Fine.
There's gotta be a timer there somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
No, we've already made
Okay.
we've already made a motion to move, to apply for this. We're just explaining what we're correct. We're just explaining what we're doing. And we've identified the buildings. Is there any dissent from the public on this? Anybody think that that's a bad idea? Any further comment from the council?
Step in the right direction, in my opinion.
We don't, we don't have we don't have it, we'll be in, it's competitive, we don't have it yet, but we're,
Right. I'm
but we're
saying,
moving forward.
yeah, if
Yeah.
we got it, it would be a step in the right direction. Just trying to get it's a step in the right direction.
And the Shoshoni Motel would be our number one. Is that correct? Everybody agree with
Oh, yeah.
that?
Absolutely. That's an easy no-brainer.
That was what brought this on, but we got another business that I think that is bad shape that needs tore down too, so we'll see if we can do both. Thank you.
And if you guys want to open up your Zoom, I can do the screen share.
Yeah.
Left.
Out. I went to the top left, but I'm still not. I went to the wrong thing. I think. I didn't get it. I went back to, or did something. Oh, there we go.
Good.
Then we're looking at the fiscal year 2021 budget.
So I'm gonna start with the Wildstar, because I know it's been a topic of a lot of disinformation that I'm hearing about, so hopefully this will answer everybody's questions. So I broke this down for the last 3 years going back, to then both lines being kind of balanced. As you can see, in 2018 in June, the Wildstar balance stood at $749,877. At the end of the fiscal year 18, ending in June of 2019, the balance was $745,326. Notice there was a little bit of decline. However, during that year, there was a well that was repaired. That some money was drawn down from the Wildstar account there. Ending in June of 2020, the Wildstar account balance was $819,981, which also includes a drawdown from the police and the training fund in the Wildstar accounts for the police vehicles last budget year. Our current balance for this budget year currently stands at $1,164,011. So no, to answer your questions, we have not, I repeat, have not been drawing down from Wildstar, pay for anything.
You eliminated some categories.
And I will explain on that.
Yeah, explain that, please.
Okay, so let me read this. This is from Jim Gores. And this is dealing with the water issue that we had on enterprise accounting. The state of Wyoming requires all municipalities to manage their water and sewage utilities using enterprise accounts. Under that system, revenues from water use charges can only be spent with upkeep and operation of the water system. The same rules apply to the sewers. Money collected from your monthly water bill can't be used for sewer, streets, solid waste, or any other city expense. Each enterprise account must be self-supporting. When it costs more to operate a system than is collected in the monthly billing, then the town has to raise rates to balance the account. It is inappropriate accounting practices to allow any other means of funding an enterprise account, which means that we cannot use general fund money to fund a shortfall in an enterprise account. If the enterprise account ceases to be operational, we have to either raise rates or we don't have water, which is not an option. Now, with that being said, in this budget year, you look at the water and sewer in 2020 of June, I split those out between water and wastewater because you cannot combine the two funds in the mix. I also commensurately took the police fund and the training fund, which comes from the same sources of funding, and combine them into one police training fund. So if you add up the water and wastewater, you get the water sewer balance preceding, same with police and training.
Explain how you separated the water and wastewater. Because well, they're not split evenly.
They aren't. The wastewater makes more money than the water. The water had a $3,000 shortfall last year. Going back historically, there wasn't any other way to do it other than historically go back and look at the percentages for each and then come up with a formula essentially and use split that way. There's no way I could discern what came from what without going back to the deception to this entire account, which I mean I still can do and I can try and reevaluate, but the time commitment on that, I don't have a better answer for you other than taking what each year 30-20, 30-80, 20-80, 30-70, and then going up to some of those two totals and using that, taking that one from some, divide it.
Well, I figured wastewater would be lower just because we had to pull out money for wells in the past and that type of stuff. I knew we took that a while start 2 years ago or so, 3 years ago.
Yeah, there was some.
Yeah, so I was expecting. Different.
And I'll be happy to go back and reevaluate those two distributions. But that's
I'm content with it.
but that was basically right. But I would be more happy to reevaluate a little bit more right now. That's the best I can do.
You looked at historical data and kind of came up with a percentage and applied it to the whole account, correct?
Just to be able to split it out.
Right.
It never should have been combined to begin with.
Right. No, they should have been separate.
So if Jordan, I understand that correctly, what I'm gathering is basically the reason sewer for the water account is lower is because of the draws that have had to be including the maintenance for the wells. As where the sewer has not had any draw, that's why the sewer has more wells. Is that the way? Is that how? Am I understanding that correctly?
Basically, yeah. And right now, just the way the rates are, water makes less than sewer. I mean, that's just the way the revenues are. Currently.
I understand. I just was maybe trying to put it easier for them to press.
Better than I did. I see you back there cheating with buddy, so that's not
Yep.
fair.
Can you tell, Chris, do we have anybody online watching us, or if this setup, can we tell?
We have some.
Okay. We got any comments? I'm just wondering if they can hear Jordan. That was one of the reasons to speak up to the microphone. We have people online and this mic's tied into our.
I appreciate what it said.
That's just my question.
No worries.
So now I'll move over to the quarter one financial. Before I begin, I'll take us back to during the budget process. When we streamlined the budget to the lowest common denominator we can do going into this budget year. One of the statements I said is every 3 months I'd give a quarterly update and we'd have to make budget adjustments knowing going into this, depending on what the revenues were there, of course, to be able to do that. We've got a lot of. So that being said, moving into this first iteration of this, if you want to look at it as basically a 3-month rebudgeting would be the best way to explain it. So in this actual one, there's some members of the audience will have, hopefully I'll have a screen up here so you all can see what's being screen shared in the future. I just haven't had time to install yet, so I apologize. But I'll try and talk as best I can. So in the quarter one, this is broken down in the actual, what we actually received versus what we budgeted for that time period. The quarter, what our overall budget is for that item, revenue item, with the annualized rate based on what we actually accrued in quarter one, and then what is available funding for quarter one for budget increases or budget resetting. So our actual revenue was $123,663 for quarter one. Our budget called for $84,950. of note is the supplemental funding, which is split in half because it covers 2 quarters. And so when you go to the annualized, it appears that we're going to have $378,000 in revenue this year, when we only budgeted 273. That's if our rate of funding remains constant throughout the year, basically. With that being said, whatever changes in the setup we make in this quarter, we will revert back to our budgeted items for the remaining 3 quarters of the year. You good?
One of the reasons that we went this, the council, we went with this, when we were doing our budget, we have a lot of unknowns, and we still have some unknowns out there on our funding that we were going to receive. So we cut a lot of things. We tried to look at, if worst case scenario with this budget, we're good. We're operating. We still have sewer. We still have water. You know, we're moving on. This, by doing it the way Chris set this up, it gives the council, now we've looked at a quarter, and we can look at what we're doing, and we can make adjustments to as we deem fit that we need to do. But this was we took a pretty conservative approach. I know I don't know if it'll continue, but our sales tax revenue was, you know, considerably higher for one thing. You know, but anyway, that was the safe way to do it. And in 3 months, we'll look at this again, and Chris will present all of this to us again, and we'll look at this and make decisions from then on. It's but this, I think, was the safest way with the unknown of the funding we're going to have.
And I guess the easiest way I can explain it is Q1 is independent of Q2 and Q3 and Q4 in this format. So whatever changes we make, modifications we make, are strictly relegated to Q1. The rest of the budget is unchanged. So Q2, if revenues drop more towards in line with what we budgeted for, we won't be able to increase the budget again in Q2. But we don't have to revert what was done in Q1. It's independent of each other. And so with that being said, we had a surplus for this quarter of $26,422. Is what our revenues over expenses were based on the budget. Actually, it was more than that, about $180,000, but we're not going into that. This is strictly on the revenue side, which dictated our expenditure side, balance budget. So over on the allocation tab, these were what I proposed for an amendment to the budget based on what I'm seeing in current trends and spending amongst the different departments, and some quarterly increases commensurate with that. Under general administration, our postage, we've already exceeded our budget in postage fees for City Hall. So I propose a $350 increase to that line item, rating it $850. Our office supply budget was $2,000. We expended $1,382. I propose a $500 budget increase to $2,500. Then we'll reevaluate next quarter. Hopefully it continues to not increase, but that way we can ensure we don't over budget. Contracted services, part of this was doing gas salary that occurred in the last budget year. That was misallocated when we did the budget. It wasn't included, so there was no budget item for that. And the $7,500 represents IT services and contracted labor that we currently, all this right here, I've been trying to do. I'm not an IT guy. I don't know much more than what I thought. I'm sure there's a better way we can do it. But we will continue to have to contract services, and having a contracted service line item for 1099 is the proper accounting way to do it, not putting them under salaries and wages of all your employees like this would be done. And that's why this is reflected here. And that's how it was hidden in that budget session that I didn't catch, is that she was coded under salaries and wages as a 1099 employee, which is not a proper accounting. So I split it out, and that's why Councilman brought it up. That's where I wrote that down. That's where the structures came from. So I believe that we need to fund that and also for the future for any other contracted services, RT connection, right? RT communications, with our internet, with the other avenues of IT that we're working on, things we need to continue to do, IT related to that contract, employees coming to 1099. That way we have a line item for that when it does accrue, it doesn't happen. I should say. Under streets and alleys, the trash, we're currently at $756, budget for $1,800. Just lining that out, I believe a $700 increase based on that trend for trash collections that's a little bit higher than we thought. Raising the budget to $2,500 would facilitate the rest of the year.
So what about we're gonna put in a contractor?
That's for any contract. Anyone.
No, I'm talking about trash.
Oh, trash. We can certainly do that.
Okay, so it's still put out for bid, say this is what, go that way versus,
We could go, we currently use waste management.
Yeah.
Council sees fit, to put that back out for bid. We can certainly do that.
I mean, we could go with her.
I don't think it would. But I'm not. It's something you guys want to look at.
We're not under contract, are we, with Waste Management?
I don't know,
I don't honestly, I want to answer that question.
I don't either, but
I can research it back to you.
you know, then let's look at different contractors, if possible, put out for bid and say, hey, go that way. Go save some money.
Potentially.
Amongst the other money you've been saving us.
I mean, I still think we should increase this because where we're currently at.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with that, I'm just saying, let's
We
look
can
at
save
another way
money,
to
yes.
save, that's all I'm saying.
I will get back to you, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll get it all to council. Like, consensus, I can take a look at that or something.
yeah, well, let's see if we got a contract with Wyoming Waste. That'll be the first step.
And if we do, let's see when it runs out, and then that's what
Recoup
we
it.
have for bid.
Correct.
I can do it. Under parks, under supplies, their current expenditure is $506 and their budget for $1,000. I propose a $500 increase, $1,500. Hopefully that will be enough to get through the basic supplies for parks through the year. Under vehicle repair, they were budgeted $1,000. We've already exceeded that budget by $92. I believe that most of that cost has already been incurred. So a $500 increase would probably be enough to get through the rest of the year. Hopefully I'll have to reevaluate that next quarter. Under salaries, under personnel, I was proposing a increase of $4,800, and that is currently for Melissa's position that I discussed with being funded by salaries and wages. The cost saving between the town clerk and the police chief and save the town, the monies that was allocated that was saved by that will expire in November. She's currently doing all the digitizing of all of our records and historical archiving, which is going to be something that the state of Wyoming is going to mandate. It's going to cost more if we wait. And I think having her fill that obligation, which I expect to be done by March, would be with a more prudent thing than have her stop halfway through it. I believe that being ahead of the curve on this is probably better than waiting for the state to mandate it and trying to rush to get it done. It's going to cost more long. We have the ability to do it now. We should do it until, set her fund will run out.
What are we paying Melissa per hour? $12 an hour, no benefits,
20 hours a week.
20 hours a week.
And what all she digitizing?
Everything.
History, because that was a mess. I saw that when I first got in, it was like, wow, that was a shame how much it was.
And she got us a blessing when we let her go work at that left tackle for the auction stuff. We got her away from scanning archiving. I think it's interesting. And then
Yeah,
also,
we found things that were missing for years.
and also $367 because it does incur a cost of payroll tax side. We still pay payroll tax. not benefits. And then also moving to the auction distribution. We received $5,666.40 in auction revenue, and amazingly, $273.30 from the common vending machine. I thought that was of note.
Wait,
Yeah. Yeah, the
Did you
quarters
say-
were flying out.
Oh yeah, we took the quarters.
in the condom
In the
machine.
condom.
Yeah.
264. I didn't believe it.
No wonder.
So, I mean, that was a shock to me, but okay.
They get 30 cents out of quarters.
I don't know, sir.
Somebody snuck a nickel in there trying to pull it out.
And then the expenses for the event auction. We did have overtime from Melissa and also the city employees that did 10 hours that day on demo and stuff like that. And then advertising for the event. When you take that out, there's a remaining balance of $4,489.70, of which I propose that 3,600 of it be allocated for the striping, and the 3,600 that was allocated for the striping from the SRO vehicle be returned to the police department in the form of uniforms, firearms, ammo, to be paid for Cody Myers, who has been accepted with their signing off on the MOU, and he will become effective October 1st as our employee and our responsibility outfit. So that is basically a trade-off, an offset. It's not a budget increase per se, as much as a trade-off. If you recall, we took the SRO funding for the vehicle, $3,600, and applied it for the asphalt.
I'm confused,
Okay.
because our minutes here says Zint, Howard paid, instead of me. Okay. Here, we talked about 90 minutes last time, and we had $600 left over, or what? Some money left over from, I don't remember where it came from.
This is the SRO. Because we had $10,000, where was we? Had $10,000 that we could allocate for asphalt. And then I said we had $3,600 of unanticipated revenue from the SRO vehicle.
Okay,
Which
that-
vehicles, and that was allocated by Councilman Stetler to cover the additional cost of the day's asphalt.
Right.
What I'm proposing is to use the money from the auction to pay for that, essentially reverse that in terms of the police department where it originally came from, to be able to fund the increase for uniforms, firearms, and asphalt. So it's basically a wash. I could have just left it and said that instead of put days out, striving, just put it as that. That would allow this way. It's basically trading those two equal amount.
But his striping is not $3,600.
Okay, the terminology would be the asphalt and striping.
Okay,
I can check.
Combination.
I can check.
yeah, that's,
I get what you're saying now.
Yeah.
I understand. That.
Pretty expensive striping.
yes,
Okay, that's my idea. It was like $300 for striping.
right,
You're right. 3,000, I guess. So I changed asphalt and striping.
okay.
So that was essentially the wash. That was. So the increase in the law enforcement would come from the overages and revenue for this budget quarter. It would come from the unanticipated revenue from municipal vehicle section. And the asphalt striping would be paid for the revenue from the unanticipated revenue from the auction. And that leaves $889.70 available remaining from the auction sales, which that all as one amendment would leave a balance of $12,094.70 of overages in revenue versus budget for this and an auction for council aside from those amendments.
For this quarter.
I had nothing to allocate. So I went back to the allocation if you want, Jake, and else you can see if you guys.
No, I was just trying to, man, I missed my book with the paper to thumb back through.
You want your book back? I'll get your book back.
That's all right. Welcome to the 21st century.
Yeah. It's just gonna take time.
I was trying to remember that exactly how that went down with the, so the 30, the unanticipated revenue originally came from the
SRO.
SRO. So put that in the parking lot. So then we're looking at just taking this unanticipated revenue, putting that back where that other anticipated revenue came from, which would give the unanticipated revenue from the SRO to be used for the SRO. Used essentially is what you're getting at.
Yes.
It's a long, complicated way of saying it. But I get it.
It made sense in my head.
It makes sense.
Well, when we didn't know, have no idea what the auction was gonna bring us.
Correct.
We didn't know if it's gonna cover it.
It's basically instead of, I guess the auction's paying for the rest of the parking lot.
Right.
Instead of taking money.
And then the town money is going back into the town, or the money from the SRO is going back into the SRO. The money from the auction is covering the deficit for the parking lot,
Yes.
is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, I like that when you put it that way.
And that way, the revenue increases, not revenue, the budget increases. for the Police department.
Because my issue with the whole parking lot thing was not taking money out of the town
Right.
budget for the parking lot,
And that's what this is doing.
is reversing that basically, and everything's getting paid for. That's, so I really am in favor of that.
And so, and the funding increase for the police department is again, not taken by the overages and the revenue for the quarters, be taken from the SRO vehicle.
Right.
Unanticipated revenue from that. So that's why the law enforcement at the very bottom is not being allocated any funding from the overseas quarter. And so it frees up more money for council to have available. Whatever. But that's the amendment that I proposed on the budget. Is all that.
I'd move we amended the budget as presented.
Been moved that we,
Second.
and second that we amend our budget for fiscal year 2021. And been seconded. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I move we take $10,000 out of surplus remaining money total and put it into the line item number 145, backhoe dump truck or greater repairs.
Second that.
It's been, we've got a motion to amend the amendment. We've got a second to amend the amendment. Do we have any discussion? I'd like to bring up, you wanna?
Mr. Mayor, amendment already passed, and he, Councilman Zent was now referring to the remaining.
Right.
From.
Yes,
That very bottom.
$94.70. I want to take 10,000 of that, put it into the greater
Okay,
repair, which is line item number 145.
okay,
Discussion now.
now we're into discussion.
Okay, so additionally, it's not on the spreadsheet. I did have 107,000. I would propose $100,000 be allocated for a new road grader or explore a new road grader. That funding is coming from a CD that was instituted for maintenance. That has been allocated to our general fund. So it is not, I wouldn't say it's unexpected revenue. It was revenue that was another account that was out there that existed on the CD. That has now since been allocated to the general fund. And it was earmarked for maintenance in its original iteration. And so I would believe that the best use of that money would be to actually get a road grader and not up to that amount, not necessarily buy up to that amount, but have the authority to give that amount for a property.
It's, and I'd also like to explain, I've been looking at road graders, I've been working with Buddy, we've been looking at repairs. We wanted to get the best bang for the buck and do a good job. We don't want to run out and just buy anything, but we've been exploring multiple options. We had found one that was, I think it was Atlantic City, Atlantic City, Georgia. We couldn't get out there fast enough. The municipality was already, at the end of July was already, before we found it, the auction was almost in, and I wanted to look at it before we bought it. But we've been exploring options to buy that, but we just need, we'd be smart when we buy a piece of equipment or repair this one.
Because it's been blowing up for a while, and we've been talking about it for a while. Have we got any kind of estimate or idea what it would cost?
But Buddy received a estimate for repairs.
Oh, heck, it's been almost a year ago. We did get an estimate on repairs. And when I got the estimate, the hydraulics and all that, I told him,
Right.
Estimated with the hydraulics going through all that. And it was like 30, 45, 40,000. That's going through the whole thing, rebuilding the motor, hydraulics, hydraulic hoses, everything. So that was through pulling it out of cast. So.
Right.
Well, the blade we have now is we've had for years.
Right.
So I didn't see a huge rush in running out and trying to explore all the options.
But you're marking that $10,000 for that repair and all wouldn't hurt the cause, I guess.
Well, I don't think we need the money. We already have money that we already have money that we can, that's for repair. And I have over $100,000 that's actually for repairs. That we can,
Essentially, I just came across another account. Actually, Mayor Peter kind of pointed me in that direction. And that it was for that exact reason. Maintenance. But it was another account that we were aware of. And really intended for maintenance. And I think that given the current state of things, that not knowing about that a few months ago, knowing about it now, the state of affairs of that, I think that would be a proper allocation of said funding. I was unaware of this concept. And it would at least know the problem.
You guys might laugh at me, but it'll be worth a shot anyway. Buddy mentioned $45,000 or so to have that one completely redone. I'm not the council, but I would think it would be a good idea to obviously have that piece of equipment fixed. But with the remaining balance, I guess around 60,000. As a member of the town, I would strongly urge the council to look at maybe what they can do to supply the maintenance facility with a new building. I think you could fix the road grader for 45 and build him a adequate shop. That one you guys are upgrading town like nobody's business. It's improving. It's great. Now I would say that's the Shoshoni's town building, their town shop per se. I would say out of your eyesores, it's in that top 10 list. So I would say, I think it's evident to maybe build the guy in his facility a new shop with the remaining balance of what it costs to fix the grader. But of course, Buddy works out of that thing. He can talk in greater detail than I can. I don't spend every day in there and know what kind of issues it has, but I think that's just another start in the right step. And if you can get it fixed at 45 and have money left to supply the the maintenance facility is in a better upkeep. I think the slab there is probably reusable, I would think, isn't it? The concrete slab in your shop?
What's that?
Is the concrete slab in your shop in good shape?
Yeah.
So just the shell would need redone, so you don't have no concrete. I think that's,
Well, what's your thinking on that, buddy? Hey, buddy. When,
I mean, I don't know,
we tore down the old building over there and I spoke with you on that. You were saying you were pretty good on your buildings. I'd ask if there's any use that you needed on the old one that we tore down. And then you said, no, I've got a building here, building here, building there. Are you in agreement with Jordan on needing a new building? Because this is the first I've heard this.
Well, not necessarily a new building. I know me and Joel have talked before of painting it.
Mhm.
At least make it look a little.
No,
bit-
I know. I'm just trying to
You know,
clarify because from our
We
discussion
had
from
talked
before.
about a new
Yeah.
building before,
Mhm.
and the contractor that came down there looked at it and he said, you're just better off redoing the building you've got,
Mhm.
upgrading it,
Mhm.
be a lot cheaper than building another
Oh, yeah.
weird
absolutely.
building.
Yeah.
So
No, I just wasn't sure.
So
because,
it's been-
when
I mean,
we
yeah.
talked before.
it's kind of what we talked about.
I guess the reason I brought it up is because I just noticed galvanized steel, which is next to none anymore. So I just figured that it's,
I have other questions for Buddy.
Thanks, Jordan.
Yeah, thank you, Gordon.
Thanks, George.
What about your backhoe, your dump truck, all those items? I mean, I'm just not expecting.
It's something,
to-
I mean, to look at, honestly, because that backhoe, it's New Holland, it's got some wear and tear,
Yeah.
So it's something in the future to be thinking about too, because it will come down the road. You know,
And talking with Buddy, I came across this $100,000 proposal to earmark for that purpose is not meant. That's what Buddy's looking for. The town's looking for $100,000 to buy it, which is earmarked to the side, so it's not allocated to other purposes. Else, and then when something comes about, bring it to council and see if that's the best deal.
Yeah, that's what you said earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Joel was saying.
It's not
Exactly.
agreement, it's not a blank check, the buddy's not buying.
right, and I want to mash the confusion too. You probably see the little motor grader that's sitting down there at that new park that's being built. That thing, like right now with the dry season, you can't push a drop of gravel on a road.
Right.
So that's why we got
Your-
bigger. So we actually
Right.
got two of them. We got a bigger one and a smaller one. So just want to, because I've had people come on. and
But
say,
the big
"Well,
one
your
doesn't
grader's
sit down
running."
alleys
It's like,
very
no,
much.
that's not the actual road
Yeah.
grader. So,
But we
But-
used that for a lot of years,
yes. And
and we
But
decided we needed. to
things are
upgrade.
changing. I mean, years ago, you used to at least get a little bit of rain. This summer, I haven't had none. And them
Mhm.
roads are hard. But, and like Joel said, I've even looked
Right.
on auctions, places that's got them for sale. Just the other day, I seen one for, I think it was 86,000, So it's not necessarily spending the whole, like Chris was saying, the whole thing if we was to go that route, so. Of course, you can get more expensive too, 220,000, but
That's what I said.
they ones drive themselves.
But we are looking.
Right, right.
Yeah, we
right.
haven't. I guess Buddy hadn't came green and said, if the other one, we can't do it, we gotta have something. The urgency would be there, but we've been looking at trying to spend the money wisely.
And since we did get that gravel put on, a lot of these roads are holding up a lot better than what they used to, especially with First Street. I mean, I used to about every month have to blade it. I mean, it's getting some more sports, but not as bad as it used to. So,
Go down 6th Street.
well, it's a good place to have it. Slows everybody down. It's like, oh,
There's a few streets that way.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
So it's been moved and segmented, we add $10,000 to the equipment
line item 145,
Line item one.
backhoe dump truck grader repairs.
So it's been moving second. We have, that's $10,000 out of the, what do we have left over? 12,000. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye.
I was at 4.
You was a four,
I
so
was a
three,
four.
three,
Yeah.
3-2 in favor. Motion passed. But we still have $2,094.70 unaccounted for.
Yeah. That's what
Anybody got a place to put that?
About getting some signs over there by the park, saying children at play. People going down the roads and stuff, that way, you know, they realize what people don't know there's a park there yet, or in the process. We could probably use some signs saying.
Do we want to put that in Parks and Recreation?
I would, yes, that's what I make a motion for.
That's where I was gonna put the whole 12,000. Parks and Recreation, what line?
I think
item
we're
would that be?
using our equipment pretty hard here. Recently too, so.
The 2,000, yep. Where's Parks and Recreation? Parks. To the park? To the parks.
Okay.
Yep. I got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Been moved and second. Any further discussion of the $2,094.70 unaccounted, hasn't been allocated for anything to the Parks Department?
Is there any specific line item for that $2,094.70? Or is it just going into any of the above or below?
We have a motion to move it into parks that are,
Yeah, but you know, line items like equipment, city park, basketball court.
Yeah, that's my question. Where is it going to?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do.
Break it down.
Yeah, where exactly in parks is it going?
city
Salaries?
parks,
You said city park.
city parks. is what- That was
That was my
motion.
understanding.
That's what.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to clarify is
Right,
basketball court, city park.
yes. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passed. Everybody had a chance to review the minutes for the last meeting. Bills first. Oh, bills. Everybody had a chance to review the bills from September 9th to September 22nd, 2020.
That'd be the 8th.
Any questions?
As we get an itemized bill from the attorney, so we know where it goes and which line item, the police department, courts, or town administration. We never received that this time. Okay.
Pardon? Okay.
Okay. Pardon, Steve.
Outside a second. Try to do that. I have to get plug it back in.
Yeah, I think I shared that. Yeah, where it's got the link, I think. It's on the Town of Shoshoni Facebook is where I got it from. And I think maybe it's on the website, but I'm not sure. Or I think currently live.
I move we take the bills for for September 22nd.
Been moved, we pay the bill.
I second.
Moved in second, discussion. I got some discussion. I have no idea why we were targeting the city attorney and asking for an explanation and itemized billing. We're not asking that from any other vendor. You explain that to me, Bob, Councilman Zent? I do not understand why you are doing that.
I was told at a meeting, at a council meeting, that I believe it was agreed upon, that he would send an itemized bill for the council every time the bill is, and just follow through.
You can do that, not in the middle of a council meeting.
Well,
Why are we having that vendor?
I'm just saying this is what was agreed upon. And I'm just trying to follow, agreed upon.
My understanding, it was agreed upon, you could come in and get that billing, that we're not doing it in the middle of a council meeting.
It does seem to me like you've been picking on every council meeting to me. Out of anybody else, I don't see asking. I just don't.
Thank you for, and
Nope, granted.
But I don't think there's any cause for that we need to split out one vendor.
He was told that his, where I would receive, my billing and my council report and following through. That's all.
If you need to know that any other time, you can get it. No, you can ask for it, but I'm not going to require the town clerk to provide that for you. Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Been moved and seconded. We approve the bills. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Now, everybody had a chance to review the minutes.
Move we approve the minutes of August 25th and September 8th.
A second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Minutes passed. Permits. We have Carl's.
Trying to visualize.
Did we need to amend that part of it, or we did?
Trying to visualize. It's irregardless.
Mine know, but now you got me one.
You had 508 Pine. Yeah. Got a storage. Says storage and slash porch. Am I missing the size of it anywhere?
It's this 5-foot span.
Yeah.
5 by 6. That's what I was interpreting. Maybe.
It doesn't say whether it's attached to anything.
It's porch.
Porch, yeah.
I don't see no drawing.
Mm-mm.
Pardon?
Amos?
Amos.
Amos?
Yeah.
It doesn't have a drawing on it, does it? It doesn't really show what part of the lot or anything, where it's at.
like 2 down from.
That's not my house.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I'm
And then there's
explaining
that Timmy Thompson. Oh, and
Do you
then-
know anything, Marnie? Is it gonna be a 5 foot by 6 foot or what? Is that the, but
I'm assuming that's what he meant.
We have
They're
nothing.
already started on it.
what's the council's pleasure on this?
Say we table it.
I don't know what we're
looking at.
What we're looking at, if we go have a talk with them, I'll try to do it tomorrow. And see if we can't get this figured out. If it's just a 5 foot by 6 foot building and it's,
It seemed like a porch off the side of his house. I would assume. It's all guesswork.
yeah, it's pretty small, but maybe that's all.
I don't know if that's 5 foot or, I think it's at 6. The girders are 5 foot and the roof is 6 foot, so probably a 1 foot overhang. Maybe after upon further.
Okay. I don't know what he's building. I guess is the problem. Huh?
He's about done.
So can you explain it to us?
It's just a mud. It's just a covered mud porch. Walk in, it's got a screen door on it, and yes, there's no door yet.
Is it on the side of the house or in the front?
But it's new lumber. I mean, it can't look any worse than the rest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like he's cobbling together a couple of crusted sticks. It's new wood.
Mm.
I'm not saying it's structurally built, but
Mm.
I'm only gonna hurt myself. I don't know.
Well, does the council want to approve this?
I have
Verify,
no-
not verify, I'll go do an inspection, make sure everything's good. We got no issues.
Yeah, I have no issues. I mean, it's the guy's
Now, if you're
better.
gonna make an inspection, I'm good with that. It's gotta be inspected though. This doesn't say anything.
'Cause it-
We're just going on what Jordan's saying. He needs to have that. So let's just go, I say go inspect it.
And we're all good. We'll
Yeah.
sign off on, we'll just go.
Yeah, I got no
Yeah,
problem signing off on it. I
So
just-
make a
we
motion,
need to
make a
know.
motion that if it's meets,
and I'll go
Approval.
inspect it tomorrow.
then
If I got questions,
it's
I'll,
okay with the council.
Was that a motion? I'd second
That's
that.
what I'm
Yeah.
asking about.
Was that a motion? I'd second that.
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
further discussion? I'll go inspect it tomorrow, make sure everything looks good, don't have any issues. And sign off on it if it's all's good. If it's not, I'll be in touch with the council.
Yeah. I mean,
That
as long as
sounds good.
new lumber and everything.
Right.
That does make a big difference of the things that we're trying to do with our town.
Yeah.
Right in line.
Any
Get
further
better.
discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
So, can I make a comment? I want to commend the council and Jordan on the basketball court. The kids are using it, they're loving it. It's nice.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
I
Mary
noticed
Lou.
tonight there was quite a few over there. Mhm. Yeah. It is nice.
Oh, crap. Buddy, 2 hours.
We have another permit, building permit, 305 West Third Street. They're wanting to put a 2-bedroom addition onto a mobile home. And it's what, 12 foot by
23,
20,
23, isn't it?
20, yeah, 12 by 23. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Uh, What Wildlight grant? Contractor for replacement?
So we have the final award for that wildlife grant that we had put in for. Now we need to select a vendor. So on this front, it would be, buddy just walked out, but I think him finding a vendor that's suitable for it, that he is comfortable with, that could do the work with the amount of the thing. I would see if we could just move forward with this in an expeditious process. I look at Jake, I can't speak. I don't know.
That happens.
You just
It's a
have to-
shiny head.
I was gonna say, you just have to look.
So
The most expeditious way with the amount of the grant being under a certain amount, if Buddy is able to find a contractor that can do the work for the bid amount of the contract, to have Buddy be able to select one to have the work done for the light food.
is that, wouldn't that be of enough money that we'd have to legally put it out for? bid?
No.
It's below that. Okay.
Which is where allowing Buddy to select the vendor that can do it would be the most expeditious way to get it
Yes.
accomplished. And not have to come back and do a whole bid process. This is, the amount of it is such a minuscule amount compared to, well, not a minuscule amount, but a smaller amount than is required.
So, yeah, since we're
So
not,
trusting Buddy to select a good, maybe not.
we need a motion for that. So I would make a motion that we would move forward in the Wildlight grant, giving Buddy the authority to select the contractor as long as it comes in under bid or within the bid.
Yeah.
Within the allotted money.
I second that.
Been moving the second, the grant was for $25,000,
Up to 25,000.
up to $25,000. Have a motion to get the approved Buddy, give Buddy the approval to search for a contractor up to $25,000 to.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I'm repeating it.
Oh, you said you do have one. I thought, yeah, okay. I thought maybe you were on some pain meds there, Mr. Mayor.
So it's been moved. We have a second.
I
Kathy,
second that.
second, been moved and second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Clerk report, please.
Oh, what about sidewalks?
The payment?
Oh. Yes, the amendment to new business. for
Oh,
sidewalk
okay.
payment.
New sidewalk payment, new business, yeah.
That's why I do paper.
Yeah.
I write it down. It's not
Yeah.
online.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
So we got to approve the payment for $87,894.59.
I move that we make the payment for $87,894.59.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded that we make a payment for $87,894.59. Any further discussion on this, on the sidewalk project?
How's that going? I know the Pine Street's pretty well done.
It's going real good. We've got that whole block's going from California to the main road's almost done. They got about another 6-foot section, and they're gonna jump across and keep going that way and then shoot back this way.
Any further discussion?
It looks really good.
Unless it's
Yeah,
in
I
front of
know.
your house.
I know.
All in favor, say aye.
Right.
Opposed?
Joe, one question that I had, I was hoping Kyle would be here tonight, was on that part for over there by Tammy's.
Harkey's over there where the uh, flush deal is right there. That pipe's right beside the sidewalk.
Yeah, they haven't
Are we
still
working on-
corrected. I was by they hadn't corrected it. Like Friday I was by. They said they were gonna fix that.
Okay, so
Yeah, I
we
was,
discussed it that way.
but I
We
drove
never
by, it
followed
wasn't
through.
repaired, but I was told they were going to.
Okay, all
I
right.
gotta
That's what I wanted to know.
apologize on that one. I told them I would take it down to ground level. I just haven't got to it. So that's on me
You got an inside casing cutter?
for, yes.
Okay.
You're talking the sewer.
Yes,
Right by
right.
the sidewalk,
The
yes.
cleanup.
Because it is a trip hazard. Me and the engineer
Yeah.
went and looked at it. And I told him, let them guys finish their sidewalk. I'll come over here, lower it ground level. I just haven't got to it. I kind of forgot about it until it was brought up. So that's my bad, so
Oh, well, just so it's
I do
followed
have it in
through.
mind. I'll write it down now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I checked on it Friday too, and I seen it wasn't cut down yet.
Okay, I didn't know whether it was followed up.
Now we're ready for the clerk report.
If I can stop coughing. Sorry. My report tonight will be addressing an issue which I feel cannot continue to go unanswered. I'm referring to the recent behavior of citizens of Shoshoni exercising their First Amendment rights in a manner which is abhorrent and lacking of human decency. While I understand that citizens, which I am one, are not always in agreement with politicians and that when addressing an employee affiliated, some of that emotion is directed towards a government employee. Certain behaviors cross a line and are not acceptable in any setting for any reason. I also understand that disdain for people exists, and when coupled with other factors, enhances the expression of these emotions directed towards that employee. With that said, the constant misinformation and those reacting from comments made by those who are generally misinformed and continue to speak without knowledge, refuse to seek the truth before commenting, and hide behind deflection, their actions have real-world impacts beyond that of simple backyard banner, Facebook posts, and those with disdain seem only to obstruct political agendas they disagree with. When these misinformed comments are given life and are used as a vehicle to condemn, berate, throw items at, and induce others to hate or sow discord with a populace against employees of the town of Shoshoni, these actions have permanent ramifications and can't simply be undone and excused with "I'm sorry" or "my bad," after learning the reason for the action wasn't even accurate to begin with. Hiding behind a keyboard to espouse misinformation, unfortunately, has become a mainstay in society. However, I would like to note that we don't live in Denver or Portland, where comments made don't have much of an impact. We live in Shoshoni. Comments made, especially misinformed and visceral in nature with a personal or political agenda directed at town employees, does have a real impact, and taking it out on individual employees does not change government functions. I see it nearly every day afterward with our employees on their faces and their voices. These are your neighbors. They are part of your community, and they are human beings and deserve to be treated with at least a basic human decency and not your doormat simply because you are angry or upset with something you may not have even enough of the correct information regarding. These actions are not what Wyoming represents. This is not what Shoshoni represents. The people of Shoshoni are better than this. In conclusion, all goals are the same: to improve Shoshoni by bringing businesses and families to this great community. We can't do this alone, and we can't succeed if we are focused on the wrong things. Those who live in a glass houses should not throw stones. I would ask the town council to be resolute in condemning this type of rancorous, destructive, and counterproductive behavior at town hall. End of my report.
Yeah, there's no reason our city employees need to put up with foul language, people throwing things, coming in to town hall and acting like they're idiots. There's no reason for our employees to put up with that. I don't think they should. They have something to say. They can come to me, talk to me in person. If they they got an issue, don't take it out on our employees. They can talk to Chris. Chris will more than happily, they got complaints on things that's going on in town hall. Don't take it out on the girls. They're on the desk. I do not find that action acceptable. In fact, it's just the opposite. If they want to come in and have a civil discussion and they need to talk to they got some real questions, they can talk. Chris will gladly handle that, I'm sure. But I think we maybe ought to have a motion condemning such actions.
I'll make the motion condemning such actions.
I mean, there's,
You wouldn't have if I could have spoke faster.
but I just don't think our town employees, any of our town employees should be subject to that type of ridicule and action from our citizens.
I was kind of embarrassed for our town after hearing some of the stories. I'm embarrassed that people would act that way, so uncivilized.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Please, Jordan, do.
I obviously wasn't here, but I think that's something that should be addressed from my opinion. I think the most important fact on it though is I think in a public city building, I think you'll be able to look at, I mean, you'll probably know it better than I do, but I've been in Lander and witnessed somebody act out in that sense as well while I was getting some license plates and a title. And he was cited for disorderly conduct. So I'm all for condemning it,
I
but
like your thinking.
need to have a repercussion once it's, you can't just condemn it and then have nothing to fire back with. So I know I just watched it happen. So it wasn't me, not this time.
Thanks for the suggestion, Jordan. Yeah, I have to agree with him on it.
Mhm.
They need to be cited.
Yeah, otherwise it's like this motion is not gonna go anywhere unless there's some type of.
Was the
Yeah.
chief of police, do we have a statute of disorderly conduct?
I would think there'd be
We
something.
do. State statute.
So
It's interrupting government functions.
that would be interrupting government functions.
We're not specifically talking about, I believe, more cowardly in its occurrence by coming in and throwing things at our employees, saying things as they walk off, things to that nature that doesn't really quite rise to the level, they don't stay. It's, to me, it is, just because we're government employees doesn't mean that that's acceptable. And some people may think that that's acceptable because we're government employees, we're less than human, but we're not. We have families, we have wives, we have husbands, we have children. Well, I don't have husbands, but other people may. We go home at night, we sleep in the same place, we want the same goals, and it's not right. It just isn't right. I shouldn't have to come into the town hall and counsel some of their employees for their day, for what they have to deal with. That's wrong.
Did I get that second?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then what moved in second that the town, Shoshoni's gonna officially condemn. Is that the right word I want to use?
How's the
The
word?
actions as has been described, they're gonna come in, they need to address town employees with
Courtesy.
the common courtesy
Common
and
courtesy.
respect.
Just like the 10 employees needed to give it back to them.
Correct, it needs to be
Both ways.
same, both ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the town employees need to treat the citizens the same way, correct. That's not tolerated either way,
Mm-hmm.
correct.
Is there specific issues that are common? Or is it general across the board I mean, is it just, I mean, I'm thinking back of the water rates.
That was the most recent
Okay,
one.
so I was asking, is there a common theme? That's all I'm asking.
Disdain for the political council, city council of certain people. Doesn't matter what the issue is, they find one.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what, they call it excuses. If you ask something and say, why is this a problem? I say, this is why it's a problem. Well, you're just giving excuses. I can't talk to people like that. You're not willing to meet me halfway and talk to me, but when you come into City Hall and you take it out on your employees because you're disillusioned, you're upset, you're mad, or whatever, you're against somebody on council, none of these ladies have anything to do with that. Nothing. At all. And it's not right.
I'm just wondering.
But I don't know what the.
So that's my
best-
question.
Yeah, I understand your, that's the best I can answer is I don't have,
There isn't one.
there's not any one thing I can point to that was a result of it. It's just the stuff with the water was the
brought it
final
to a
straw for
head.
me. That I felt
Yeah.
compelled to do this, that I wasn't gonna stand by silently anymore.
I don't know when it became so acceptable to treat people
People
so
like that.
rudely.
You turn on CNN, you turn on MSNBC, you turn on anything.
And it's everywhere.
But we're not Portland. What you say gets back, reverberates, and has real consequences in this community. You can go in Denver, you can say what you want, you can say what you want about the political leaders or whoever treats someone. It doesn't have any traction. It's not concentrated. Shoshone is very concentrated. Heck, I'm sure most people know what time I go to bed at night. They probably know when I turn my car on.
I do.
Okay, now
Okay, Mom. Car right across the street.
But it's different in Shoshone, and we should be coming together and not acting
fight.
and behaving this
Yeah.
way, and it's not appropriate. It needs to be called out and condemned when you see it.
Right.
Just like anything else, racism, sexism, when you see it, it should be called out. And this too should be called out. And that's what I'm asking for.
Yeah, and it's not just the water bills, it's been a few other issues too. So, yeah,
But enough's enough.
and, yeah, right.
Enough's enough. Any further discussion?
But how do we let the public know? I mean, we just say, I mean.
It's to get around, everything else does.
It's more of an action of,
We're not gonna
I think
tolerate
one
it,
way to
no.
do it is talk about this. Well, we'll jump down to number 10, candidate debates. We can talk about it that time.
I think that should come up.
Yeah.
And I'm just,
Yeah. I mean, that way we'll have a general population there, considering how many people we have here at this meeting.
and that's the proper setting for those things to be aired, not here in town hall when you aren't here. And, but I was still resolute in my condemnation of it, and I stand steadfast that I believe that everybody here should feel the same way.
I definitely do. Like we pass this and we post it. Taking the excerpt of being our minutes, we take an excerpt, right? The clip right out of our minutes and post it.
Put it on our Facebook page.
Put it on our Facebook page.
Town site.
Yeah, please.
For that thing that you guys are talking about just in City Hall, does it pertain to out there too? Because like today.
Yes, correct.
They read,
That's it.
okay,
It's
okay.
all, not just the town hall.
Yeah, no,
The
all
guys
city
read the meter.
employees.
Because the actions that went on here, they got the reaction. And it's like, so I was just wondering. So it's.
How small
It's
are
all the
people
time.
to yell at a guy reading a meter because something the council does? How small are they inside?
You wouldn't believe how much I've heard over that park already.
Oh, yeah.
Rhetorical question. Don't talk to me like, oh,
I get a lot of calls on that.
It's like,
No, all city employees, we're not
Okay,
just here.
okay.
No, all employees.
so I didn't mean to exclude you, buddy.
No, I wasn't taking it that way. I was just making sure
No,
that there can be an action taken with the people out there, like when we've been
Yes.
doing that park. I mean, I realize there's people upset about it, but don't take it out on us. I mean,
That's right.
we're doing our job. We're
Right.
doing as we're
You do the
told,
job, yeah.
And the same with the gals in here. I mean,
Mhm.
they have no control over the decisions.
No,
you
you're
guys
just doing,
make.
they're doing their job,
Right.
you're doing their,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be taken out on the employee,
Right.
without a doubt. Come talk to me,
Mhm.
anybody.
You can just dig a hole, you know, your backhoe.
Won't be reading my mind.
You know
But
what
anyway.
you call them once they're in the hole, right? Phil.
Been moved and second. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. We needed that. Definitely, that's something that needed to be dealt with.
Yes, thank you.
We need to be proactive on this instead of just
Exactly.
let it stand back and let it happen.
Mhm.
No executive session. Move on to reports. An update, a little bit on the city park. Jordan can probably help me with this, and Buddy, you know, I've seen there was at least 6 people playing yesterday, doing full court. I went by, there was one today, but later, there was quite a few down there playing. It's looking well, you know, it's still a work in process, but they're already up there playing basketball,
They're playing football in the dirt.
and they're
Mhm.
playing football.
They were there playing, there's full court basketball going on, kids throwing the football in the dirt, there's not even grass there yet. They're congregating there, they're getting
Yeah.
out of trouble. That was a dang good thing that was done.
I went by at 5:30 today and I counted 9 kids.
9 kids.
There was quite a few when I come to the meeting tonight.
And it's,
A lot
And
of
I'd like to,
I know
thank
it.
you, Jordan, for your, being, staying on that thing for the last 10 years or whatever.
12 to be
12.
exact, Joel.
And how many
Short
days?
ever since you were in diapers almost.
I call it the 12-year basketball court. That's the name for it.
Yeah.
But it's, no, it's,
In fact, I'd like to make a motion to put a 12 in the middle of it.
but
You
there,
can do
I
that,
think,
too. Where was I on that one?
but the kid I talked to today was 7th grader. He's new to Shoshoni and said just loves it. He's been and lived in Florida and Rock Springs. He just really likes the Shoshoni school system, likes that basketball court. He's been there the last 2 days in a row. And he's just a 7th grader. He's about 6 foot tall.
I think it was.
Before the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I said, I got pictures of them, I went by there before the meeting and they were still out there throwing the football and have full court game. I mean, it's full of kids.
Perfect.
There's some kids that are playing basketball down there at the, to us, the old Nunez shop.
And I'm speaking of the park. I'd like, Tim Davis has offered to give us that old log shop. It's about a 16 by 20. You know, they're on the California, on the alley between 2nd and 3rd Street, you know, that White House, Tim Davis is now
Oh,
bought.
yeah.
Okay, so he's gonna tear all that down. He's offered to give us that old log shop
there you go, there's your photos.
if we can find someone to move it, I'd like to
It was one of the original
suggest
buildings.
to the council, we ought to look at that. That's probably over 100 years old.
It's
We possibly
here.
could move that down in our park.
That'd be pretty
I
neat.
mean, you got that old wall, and we're, that would sort of go with the theme we're trying to
Yeah.
reach.
I think it's a great idea.
I've reached out trying to get some movers. I should have somebody here tomorrow to look at it. I don't know, have no idea what it's gonna cost. Once I get a cost, I can come to the council, but I would.
You know, that was gonna be my first question.
Yeah, we'll see what,
What is the idea of Joel? I missed it, I'm sorry.
well, we're we're trying to save a piece of history. It's a building over 100 years old, and we can move that down to the park. We're also hoping to have that park as people, travelers stop and can rest, stretch their legs. Besides all the good things the community's going to give the travelers, give them a better idea of Shoshoni, get them stopped there. Maybe we could maybe they'll start selling malts again across the street, huh?
I said, so the log thing would just be a visual thing?
Primarily, I don't know if we may be able to, once we might be able to store things, do functional, I don't know, but just that old log look, I think would be attractive there.
Best idea on that. I think that's gonna take up space for kids to utilize. And I feel like it would just be another thing to have to worry about being messed with as a.
I mean, you're not getting the big picture. We're looking at rebranding our town to the western look. We may put a boardwalk, around our park. We may put some older lights. I mean, I know Fast Lane's gonna put a western look on their new store.
I think the bigger thing would be focusing on the building that's already there.
We're working on that too, but I think that log, that's a piece of history. How many times we hear, how come you tear this down? Why did you tear that down? I think we need to look at the cost. If the cost comes in way high, we gotta prioritize and see if we want to spend that money. I don't know what it's gonna cost, but I think we should research it.
I think the shame not to at least look into it.
How big is it?
You might
It's approximately 16 by 20.
You might get the historical society to
Yeah.
come up with some funding for
Yeah.
it too.
I think we need to research it.
About half the size of the pad for the fire pit.
It's not
Could you use it
a
for like
large
gift
building.
Or is it kind of a tourist attraction?
Yes. I'm hoping that adds, we're talking,
Some issues.
several things that we can put in there.
Well, I
That
guess
would
it
be-
wouldn't be a bad idea if you put it along the other piece of the building where that concrete pad already is on that old building, but I don't think you'd want to put it where everything's newly built. I think that would take away from what's there.
I'd be interested.
That building that's there.
I'd be interested in the cost anyways. If it's a super high cost, we probably won't have to worry
Well, it's just
about.
like the Chauver Hotel, if the town had a couple $1 million laying around or something like that, they may have saved that. But I didn't see the engineer report, but I was told it cost a lot of money to try to save the Chauver, why they tore it down. Because when I got on the council, the decision had already been made that they were gonna do that. So can't we save it? I was told, no, it costs too much money. And this may be the same thing, but I think we ought to look into it.
I don't mean to change the subject on you real quick, Joel, but you were looking at the old jailhouse. Is anything come up with that at all?
We're still dealing with the guy in Cheyenne on the,
Because maybe we
Postal
could
guy
get something
on it.
together with both those buildings together,
it's possible with the,
That'd be cool.
so.
Yeah.
Because we do need our history,
Right.
right, we
because
do.
once it's gone, it's gone. I
Yeah.
mean, those are two
Yeah.
big things.
We're still waiting on that guy in Cheyenne.
I like Ro's idea a lot more than the park.
Well, we might put the jail in the park too. I've already been. We don't own the land where the jail's at.
Neither does the post
And it's
office.
not visible on the highway.
The post office, I can speak on that because I was the maintenance guy at the post office and I was taking care of it. I wasn't taking care of the jail, but I was taking care of the trees directly behind it in the weeds. I wanted to cut down the tree that was behind it because it was rotten. However, they pulled the deed and they do not have the deed to that. Teresa was the one that was working here. She actually had the deed that the town still owned that piece of property that the jail sits on. You can go in there and ask Vanessa Dickinson, because I was pissed, because I wanted to cut down that dead tree, because it was an eyesore to the post office. Teresa pulled it up, and the deed was found like 1901 or something. That's how far it was. I don't know where she got it. If it's in here, I have no idea. But she come back and said it was in fact their deal, and that Buddy was.
Well, we got a list from the county of all the property the town of Shoshone owns, and that was not on
I'm just letting you know what she.
it.
According to
We just told.
According to the post office,
Yeah.
they said they've got the deed on it.
The
Yeah.
post office did tell you that?
Mhm.
Yep.
The guy in Cheyenne did. I can't think of his
Yep.
name right now.
Said that they owned it.
Mhm.
And that's who you're waiting on.
always gathered.
Yeah.
I wonder why
The guy in
Vanessa said
Cheyenne,
that.
that's what he said.
I have no idea, but I know we just recently got a list of all the land the town of Shoshone.
I believe you. I just was
Yeah.
saying what transpired since I was trying to cut the damn tree down.
Yeah.
Are we trying to get rid of our by Nick's little garage there, or what is going on with that
I've been talking with Nick on that. You mean that little,
green garage?
little what,
It's what?
what are you talking, little green?
On
Sure.
the-
The bee balls.
Yeah.
That part there, Nick and I are in negotiation. That's all I can say. Nick and I are in negotiations on that. That's where that stands. Because the city is trying to acquire that.
Be nice if they donated.
And also on the city park, talking with Gary Wise about adding in a Veterans Memorial aspect to the city park, encompassing paying homage to the Shoshone veterans that have died, as well as currently serving living veterans. And Gary, I don't know if you wanted to speak about that at all, but he's been doing some work on gathering some information on having a memorial as well as plaques and whatnot for that purpose.
I'm Gary Wise, and I talked to Drew Bott, B-O-T-T, up at Bott Monument. And there's 3 places you can get granite from that's usable: Eastern South Dakota, Vermont, or China. And he's going to email me he's going to work up some plans, and he's going to email them to me, and then I'll get with you and Bo and figure out what you want to do with it.
Okay.
But right now, I don't have a clue about cost or anything.
Have you looked at Du Bois's?
No.
You need to.
It's nice.
You need to send me up there on city business.
Maybe we'll go take a peek when they get back in a couple weeks.
Huh?
So maybe you and I can go take a peek in a couple weeks when I get back from
All right.
a hunting trip.
Also, while I'm up here, I had a question, and I was waiting for the audience section, but since I'm up here, Miss Kathy, have you done paperwork for burn days? September's almost over with, and normally we've been burning.
There's Bud right there.
There's still a ban on statewide, isn't there?
I don't know.
Yes.
As far as I
There's still a
know.
ban.
I'm in the other office, Gary, so
Expired.
I wasn't privy.
Okay, I
And
didn't
so
know.
I did ask Bud earlier, and he said that he was he's trying to get with him, but as far as a date or whatever, there has been none. Is that correct, Bud?
Correct.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't
No,
know.
that's okay. Thank you.
My bad, yeah.
Still,
Beat me up.
No. Anyway, I think the park's coming along pretty good.
It's looking pretty nice.
Driving by, it sure looks like.
Yeah. It is.
It's sort of the general consent, that at least I can go ahead and look at that, see where that log.
Oh, I certainly think we should look into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll find out if there's some funds or something to get for it from the Historical Society.
Okay, we'll just kind of, we'll research
See
that,
if
see
that
what we
won't-
can do. I think we'll look at it before we let them tear it down.
Absolutely.
That's where I'm at.
Should at least try.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Don't know if it's affordable to move it or if it's, we'll find out. Medical clinic, they're come along pretty good. We talked about our auction. I thought it was pretty successful. And we have some pictures that of people that are Zoom can see, but they everything's out. Pretty good. It's gutted. I mean, so now they're starting on building,
That was quick.
you know, so I think it moves. I think everything went fairly smooth. They got everything out of there.
I got a couple for you.
Okay.
Yeah, we looked at it for the meeting. Really opened up in there.
So the medical people are excited, can't wait to get over here.
We know their boxes.
Come get all their stuff, yeah. It's, I'm glad to get Gotchi over here and hopefully I'm done when they get here. But it's, Brad's moving right along, comfortable, he's gonna get done in a timely manner, so
That's good news.
things are moving. He hired a couple of local boys.
That's good news as well.
With a couple of local to work. And so we'll keep updates on how that's progressing, but everything so far looks good. The town's gonna sponsor a candidate debate this Friday. We have two moderators. Liz Philp has agreed to be a moderator, and Ginger Bennett has agreed to be a moderator. Gary Wise has agreed to be the timekeeper, representing the chamber, but he's gonna be here doing that. So it's gonna be a little different format. It's gonna be more of a debate style, where there'll be questions asked and you'll be able to answer some questions. You'll get opening statement, closing statements, and it's going to be a debate style during the meeting. We're going to hold that here. One of the reasons we hold it here, because we've got the cameras and this equipment, so we can zoom it, so people don't have to come here and watch it. And they can look at it later. Don't have the time, they can look at it the next day. That'll be this Friday at 7 o'clock. And I've been told the timekeeper is really gonna be strict.
Yeah, but he uses metric time, so.
Oh, no. Instead of 3 minutes, they got seconds, even a third.
Yeah. But,
No, I don't know. Whatever we'll do, just the time will be just like before. We'll have the warning card. And I guess yellow will be warning and red it's done.
I believe they're gonna limit the questions to 1.5 minutes and 30 seconds for rebuttal. Probably gonna get maybe 2 minutes for the introduction or something. I was talking with the moderators, how they're gonna conduct it. That was sort of all they picked up, and then we'll have a set of rules out for everybody on what they're doing.
When the rules supposed to come out?
Should happen tomorrow, I'm guessing.
Sounds like fun.
So that's basically all I have. Do we have anything from any of the other council members they'd like to bring up at this time?
I got one. Signs over by the park, going down this way and behind the park, just like children play, slow down, blah, blah.
I think we got enough money in the sign budget. We can order some warning signs. Yeah, on the backside of First Street you're talking?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And then what can we do for funding on trying to get a fence up?
We have enough funding for the fencing
Mhm.
around the basketball courts. That way when they
Get the balls rolling.
Doesn't go
It's
out
not,
on
yeah,
the
exactly.
street.
Right. Buddy and I were just talking about that this morning. So, and it's better to do that now before we level everything, because then we'll have to go back and mess it up. So Buddy was in agreement, it need to be done now, not later. So, I think we're moving along with that, and we're good with available funding for that. And lighting, we believe we have a light post from Jordan
Mhm.
to be able to put lighting for the evening and have the multi-faced lighting in the middle of the court, should light the whole court and provide ample lighting up there. We've also installed security cameras over there. We'll be looking at adding additional ones if needed based on the vantage points and how it looks, just FYI.
And then, everything else at the park, it's definitely teasing on the eyes. I've had lots of people complimenting the stuff that's been getting done out there. I mean, it looks really good. I've had people in Riverton talking to me about it. So you guys have definitely, Buddy and everybody that works for you, Jordan, Chris, you guys have done a heck of a job.
Jordan just shows up and tells us what we're doing wrong. We need to fix it and leaves.
Let's go like that. You're doing good, whatever you're doing, Jordan.
Directed you in the right way, so.
Yeah, see, now he's doing it again.
I was still there helping you, wasn't I?
And when it was all done, you came and played basketball.
Yep, you betcha. I did on the lighting piece, I spoke with Terry Betts. He said depending on Buddy's time frame, he's pretty busy. Yeah, his ideal method was, I think he's got some other stuff to do for the town. He kind of mentioned he'd go into detail, but he said he's got some other stuff he's looking at maybe doing or quoting. I'm not sure the detail, but he mentioned that he would probably be able to donate 3 lights on that. However, his labor to install them lights would be, he would have to be able to pay his guy to do that. But he would donate 3 lights with the pole that I originally donated. He said he could set the pole or the town could set it. He didn't matter, whatever. He would set it for free if need be with his auger. But if the town wanted to set it, it was fine too. He said it would be a less headache for him to have to drive his auger truck over here because it's a pretty old unit. I think it's like a 58 or something. So, anyways, he said he would probably be able to donate 3 lights and get back to me. Let me know. Another electrician. I think he would. I know he's at Park Lights. He was talking about doing the same lighting that's out of my facility. If you notice the lights out there, I've got them down right now. But at one time, Kathy thought there was falcons playing up there or something. So
They're pretty bright.
it was lit up, but I've got them down now because I don't have no trucks in the yard. So run those lights at night. He was talking about doing the same 3 LED with sun. Yeah, it kicks on and off, where it needs to be.
Thanks, Joe. Thank you, Jordan. And then Buddy, anything new with YDOT on signs? Nothing. Okay. And then Chris, anything on the truck signs?
We have the signs. There's no ordinance in the city limits, so we're not in violation of So as long as we have the council, we can go and install and get that going when the signs arrive. Those are one thing we can. We're not closing the road. It's a city-owned property, and there's no wide-eye exclusions. We have to worry about.
So you're still waiting on the posts? Is that what you said? Or
Signs. Signs and posts.
signs and posts? Okay. That's all I got. Thanks for looking.
Those ones, we still have to have mandated by wide-out regulations as far as posting for the roadway and posting for the sign. There still is regulations we have to follow, but we don't have to have their blessing because it's not their right of way. So,
That will work. That's all I got.
Anything else? None being, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Did we get audience questions?
Thought we did.
We did. I wasn't sure. We didn't get to that point in the agenda, so I was making sure everybody's needs were attended to. That's clarification.
Anybody in the audience, do you have anything else?
You're right.
None being, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Been moving to second to adjourn. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned at